The Indiana Fever just lit up the court and the scoreboard in a dominant win over the DallasWings, and the post-game energy from AliyahBoston and CaitlinClark made it clear this wasn't just another WNBA matchup. It was a message. With Clark tying her career high in steals and Boston playing with unmatched intensity, the victory had all the makings of a defining moment. But what really got people talking wasn't just the scoreboard. It was the way both stars addressed rising rookie paigebeuckers. When a team drops 101 points and looks that synced up, it's not about individual stats. It's about system, synergy, and statement-making basketball. Boston and Clark, both known for their intense competitiveness and cerebral understanding of the game, brought raw honesty and strategic insight to their post-game interviews. And just like that, the narrative around the Fever may have shifted from potential to inevitable. For Clark, it's only her third game back from injury, but it looks like she never missed a beat. This team season has seen high peaks and confusing lows, but this performance felt like a turning point, a cohesive and dynamic showing that reflects a group finally discovering its identity. Early on, Clark nailed her first deep three, a sign of the confidence that fuels her game, but she quickly pivoted in her interview to critique her own shooting. "Still didn't shoot it as well as I would have liked," she admitted, a line that somehow came across as both humble and defiant. For someone who contributed to a 30-assist team effort, that kind of self-assessment doesn't read as dissatisfaction. It reads as hunger. Clark's ability to balance elite court vision, defensive intensity, and leadership while still chasing an even higher personal standard sets the tone for everything this Fever team is building. While some stars get wrapped up in the stat sheet, Clark is laser-focused on movement, flow, and team execution. She didn't need to force shots because the team had balance. 12 shot attempts here, 9 there, double-digit scoring from 5 players. "It would take a lot to beat us when we play like this," she said, and it didn't sound like a boast. It sounded like a forecast. That level of balance, that kind of scoring diversity, that unselfish ball movement, it's what WNBA contenders are made of. And AliyahBoston echoed the same sentiments. Asked what's changed for this group, she didn't talk about schemes or individual talent. She talked about defense. "It starts on the defensive end," she said, with a clarity that only comes from experience and trust in the system. It's the kind of line that could sound like cliché coach speak, except this team forced over 20 points off turnovers. They didn't just talk defense, they weaponized it. Boston's response to questions about her physical transformation was equally telling. With visible improvements in strength, agility, and pace, it was obvious she'd put in work during the off-season. Yet when asked, she casually shrugged it off. "No, I don't think so," she said when asked if she's stronger and faster this year, brushing aside what was plain to everyone watching. That's the quiet fire of someone who expects excellence, not someone who's surprised by it. Playing alongside Clark means keeping up with her tempo, and Boston's enhanced conditioning shows she was ready for that challenge. And that's where the Fever's growth is most apparent. Clark and Boston aren't just stars. They're strategic architects of this team's future. Clark's comment that she didn't need to shoot much because of the balance wasn't just a reflection on a good game. It was a philosophy. Boston's understated confidence shows she's not chasing headlines, she's chasing results. The chemistry between the two is becoming one of the WNBA's most dangerous weapons. There's no ego, no stat padding, just a shared goal to win, and a deep understanding of what it takes to do it together. But then came the paigebeuckers moment, the subtle shift that made this post-game conversation so much bigger than basketball. When Coach Stephanie White discussed the rookie, she offered the kind of praise that's both respectful and revealing. "She stays neutral, doesn't get rushed," she said. It was part compliment, part scouting insight. But what made it fascinating was how Boston and Clark approached the topic. No eye rolls, no veteran superiority. Just calculated, mature respect. That's not just poise, it's psychological chess. Clark even joked about one of her steals coming off Beuckers, saying it set the tone for her own defense and the team's energy. But there was no gloating, just a hint of pride in reading the play, making the right move, and bringing defensive fire from the start. "I can be a really good defender when I choose to," Clark said, a brutally honest line that pulled back the curtain on her game management approach. She knows how to conserve energy and when to unleash her full effort. It sounds risky until you realize it's actually high-level basketball IQ in action. Strategic energy use, measured aggression, veteran mindset. Boston backed that up with a reminder of how everything starts with stops. It's not flashy, but it's the foundation. And right now, the Fever are laying bricks faster than anyone expected. Clark's 13 assists and the team's 30 on 40 made field goals? That's historic level sharing. That's an offense designed not around hero ball, but harmony. You can't defend a system that doesn't rely on one or two players. You can't trap a team that scores from all angles. And you certainly can't beat them if they're generating that many points off their own defense. What's most impressive is that they're doing it all without full-time practice reps. White acknowledged they've barely had time together as a complete unit, yet the chemistry looks polished. That speaks volumes about individual IQ and collective buy-in. Clark says she's still a few shots away from her best game, which, given her numbers, should terrify the league. And Boston? She's peaking in every way. Faster, stronger, smarter. When a player in her third year looks this composed and this dominant, it's not just evolution. It's a signal. These post-game interviews were more than media sound bites. They were roadmaps. When Clark talks about giving up a good shot for a great shot, she's not just talking basketball, she's talking philosophy, team-first mentality, long-game thinking, and Boston's calm self-assurance, downplaying visible improvements, shows that she's not chasing short-term praise. She's building long-term dominance. This isn't a streak. It's a blueprint. The way they spoke about Beukers was perhaps the most strategic move of the night. They acknowledged her talent while subtly asserting their own place at the top. "She's fun to watch, just not as an opponent," White said. "A compliment, sure, but also a message. We're still the team to beat." That kind of confidence, when mixed with humility and self-awareness, builds dynasties. Boston and Clark are leading with intention. They understand the culture shift happening within the Fever franchise. It's not about surviving the league. It's about redefining it, and that's exactly what they're doing. Their respect for the game, their opponents, and each other is matched only by their competitive fire. And it's that combination that makes this team so dangerous. Whether it's Clark hinting at her defensive gear still being in reserve, or Boston casually steamrolling opponents while acting like it's business as usual, the subtext is clear. They're not at their peak yet, but they're already winning. That's championship DNA. The mental game is in full swing. When Clark drops lines like, "I can play elite defense when I choose to," it's not just an observation, it's a message, a warning. That kind of psychological edge, combined with tactical execution, is what turns rising teams into perennial contenders. Boston's quiet transformation has been the most underrated development in the league. Her ability to blend power and pace, all while adapting her style to support Clark's tempo, is a masterclass in adaptability. She's become a post threat, a transition runner, and a defensive anchor, exactly what Clark needs beside her. Their chemistry isn't forced. It's formed, built through shared expectations, mutual trust, and elite preparation. This isn't just a team playing well, it's a team building something lasting. When they talk about defense fueling offense, about team assists being the key stat, about never settling even in blowout wins, it's clear they're not here for participation ribbons. They're here for banners. And when a team starts thinking like that, playing like that, and talking like that, you'd better believe the rest of the league is listening. So, what did you think of their post-game comments? Drop your thoughts below, and stay locked in with Hollywood Buzzing for more deep dives that go way beyond the box score.